now go through lesson 2. Greetings, grade 8, lesson 2 of Arete. We're going to start with an opening prayer. May the wisdom of the all-compassionate one so shine within our hearts and minds this day, that we may be enlightened in our acts, thoughts and deeds. So shall we learn to be true, good and happy, and attain the spiritual peace. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. Right, so the appreciating the gift of the family is the title here. Isn't that nice to know? We're going to be doing that. So a little quote from the Bible to start off with. And we're referring to page 13. Okay? That is, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he's old, he will not depart from it. From Proverbs 22:6. So a question for you. We've got a few questions now. You won't find these in the book. Do you know the duties and responsibilities of the members of your family? I want you to list down their names and beside each write a few words about the role that he or she performs. Actually, we do have a question here and also a performance task. And this is in the book. Sorry, my fault. So we've got a chart here to do that with. You can screenshot this one, or you can screenshot the one from the PDF, or the book if you've got it. So there we have it: father, mother, sibling, 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 and you, depending on your family makeup. Their name and then the role that they play. So then submit that performance task on a PM. That's a mini performance task, actually. I'm tending to call these ones now. And then the big performance task is the one at the end. But they're very similar. Excuse my coughing, got a bit of a sore throat. So, Filipino parents are expected to send their children to school to receive an education. However, society also requires that parents teach their children good manners, positive values, and right conduct. Okay? So these are home duties. Good manners, positive values, right conduct. Indeed, a child who has good manners receives the admiration of relatives, friends, teachers, and neighbors. Conversely, a person who is highly educated but ill-mannered is shunned by society, rejected by society. Do your parents... This is a question from the text. Do your parents admonish you for your wrongdoings? Admonish is to tell off or punish or correct you, tell you what is right. So answer and submit that one. Excuse me, I'm going to cover up the microphone when I do that. Your parents' reaction to your errors is a manifestation of their commitment as your first teachers and role models. Question again from the text. Do you have older siblings who never fail to remind you of your duties at home? Answer and submit. Truly, the family has an immense responsibility to educate its young so that they can be productive members of society. Let us look at the life of Mrs. Lily Venko and see the importance of education. Right, we're on to page 14 now. Victories of life, the great teacher inspires. Mrs. Lily Venko is a chemistry teacher, but first and foremost, she is a mother to 5 children. Every morning before she goes to work, she ensures that all her children will be ready for school. She wakes up early to prepare breakfast and her children's lunch. By the time her children are eating their breakfast, excuse me, she takes her turn in the bathroom. When the children are ready to leave, she kisses them and tells them to do well in class. Since the school is just near the house, it only takes a few minutes for Mrs. Venko to arrive and prepare for her school day. As a teacher, Mrs. Venko is strict but fair. All her students know that they will only receive the grade that they deserve. Interestingly, most of her students look upon her as their mother whenever they are in school. Every day before classes end, Mrs. Venko tells her high school students a short but inspiring story. It is always good to end the class with a happy heart, she would tell them. At home, Mrs. Venko prepares supper and sees to it that her children do their homework. She also finds time to talk to her children and ask them how their day was. Before going to bed, the family says a short prayer led by their mother and father. When all the children are in bed, Mrs. Venko goes to the study room and spends a few minutes to prepare her lesson for the next day. One time, Mrs. Venko's friend, who returned to the Philippines, asked her, "What is your job?" Mrs. Venko replied, "I am a teacher. My full-time job is to educate and be a role model not only to my students, but also to my family." Often her former students, now professionals, would come to visit her in school. They tell her that they have never forgotten the life lessons that she taught them. They thank her for imparting to them her wisdom and treating them with loving kindness. Mrs. Venko's legacy continues since one of her children is now studying to be a teacher too. So there's the end of that. The great teacher inspires. I've got some questions about that. I'd like to ask you, students, what is the study all about? So you can pause the video, you can screenshot that, and you can also then answer. So this is a guideline for your answer. It's not the answer. So I use in your own words. So the story is more or less about a teacher who is passionate about teaching, but also finds time to fulfill her role as a mother to her children. And what could have helped Mrs. Venko attain balance in her professional and personal life? I'm going to pause there. And here's a guideline. Mrs. Venko's dedication and commitment to her profession and family helped her attain balance in life. Also, she utilized time management so that she can fulfill her obligations to her students and her family. So what is the lesson of the family, would you say, in your own words, please? What's the lesson of the story? What do you think about that? So a guideline, roughly, to the aim of this question and the story, that we all have roles and obligations, and it's important that we fulfill them. How can you relate the story in your own life? How can you relate the story in your own life? Well, the answers may vary. However, I'd like to highlight the need to clearly identify one's roles and find creative ways to fulfill the obligations or duties attached to those roles. So let's take a break there before going on to Inflame, page 15. Actually, I'll leave that. That was for a different... we'll leave that. Let's just move on to page 15. Okay, Mrs. Venko, this is top of page 15. Mrs. Venko dedicated her life to educating numerous students and her children. Her words and deeds have all been geared towards the development and success of all the young people that she has come in contact with. As a result, her students, as well as her children, deeply love her. It can be said that Mrs. Venko is a very successful teacher and parent because she inspired her students and children to become productive citizens. So now please do the reflection questions on page 15. Can you describe a person who is not only successful in their chosen profession, but also excels as a parent? Actually, it says his chosen profession, but that would make it only men, only fathers. So we don't want to say that. We want to say who's not only successful in their chosen profession, but also excels as a parent, because it might be a mum, it might be a dad. Okay, pause here and screenshot that to get that one. And what do you think are the challenges that parents struggle with in order to maintain a healthy balance between career and family life? What's your answer to that? And the third one, how do your own parents balance their career and family life? How do your own parents, your mum and your dad, either of them or both of them together, balance their career and family life? Talking about balance. So we're on to page 16, the rediscover at the top of the page. And as you notice, what we're asking here isn't actually on the Arete page, so this may be someone, I might pause to insert a green box here if that's the case. I'd like to ask you to define, using your own words, the following: roles, community, and development. So I might just do that now on, yeah, it's an answer one. So I'm just going to put a green box here, excuse me, while we're here. This can be quite complicated, dealing with many, many different slides. Here's one. I'm just going to copy paste this right in front of your eyes. Oh no. Okay, here we go. Let's go back to the, I think it's here, isn't it? No. Not that one. This one. There we go. And this one. Okay, we're good. Let's just skadoosh back a little bit. There it is. I'd like to ask you to define words the following: roles, community, and development. So answer and submit that one. A variety of answers, but the things I would like to highlight are this: the importance of the fulfillment of one's duties as a productive member of the community, and as one's contribution to the development of the society. We have learned, so this is the top of page 16, the text. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. We have learned, not have, we have learned that when the family starts to break apart, society starts to fall apart. Thus, families are expected to love, nurture, support, educate, correct, and inspire family members so that they can fulfill their purpose and become productive members of society. Apologies, there are a few spelling mistakes. The role of families, in essence, is to safeguard, reveal, and communicate love. Parents are called to educate and guide their children towards positive values and right conduct. Thus, with love as the starting point, families are tasked to 1. Form a community of persons, 2. Serve life, and 3. Participate in the development of society. Right? Very clear, eh? Very nice to see that. So we're on to forming a community of persons on page 16 now. Our family is a community of persons, of husband and wife, of parents and children, and relatives. Excuse me. Hence, the first task of the family is to love one another and to remain faithful. In so doing, the family will be able to become an intimate community of life and love. Without love and fidelity is faithfulness, a family cannot thrive, grow, and become an authentic community of persons. How does one then build an authentic community of persons? There are varied ways, but all of them rest on acts of love. Each member of the family is called every day. Let me start this again. There's 2 spelling mistakes in a row, so sorry, I got distracted. Each member of the family is called every day to care for and love the other members, attend to those who are sick, assist the elderly, and practice generosity within the family. Also, the young members can practice unconditional love, respect, and obedience towards their parents whenever the latter exercise their authority to teach them how to responsibly use their freedom. Very important. Lastly, as a member of the family, each one is required to be understanding, patient, and forgiving with one another. Right? Very important too. It cannot be denied that parents have the solemn obligation to educate their children. It cannot be denied that parents have the solemn obligation to educate their children. The role of parents as the first teachers of their children is so critical that nothing can compensate for their failure in it. Hence, parents are tasked to sustain a family atmosphere filled with love so that their children will have a well-rounded personality. When our parents teach social virtues and the proper use of freedom, they are practicing parental love. This parental love is demonstrated by kindness, constancy, service, and self-sacrifice. In these modern times, permeated by individualism and selfishness, everyone is called to practice true love. This true love is understood as sincere kindness and care for others, especially the poor and those in need. The family is then called to serve others and uphold the value and dignity of human life. Have you ever wondered, and now we've just moved on to page 17, have you ever wondered what our society could be if all parents would fully commit to teaching their children virtues and positive values? What if all the members of the family cooperated and performed acts of love? You don't have to submit that question. The unity, cooperation, and sharing that the young practice in the family actually represent their first and fundamental contribution to society. The authentic and mature communion between persons within the family leads to broader community relationships marked by respect, justice, dialogue, and love. Truly, the family is the place of origin and the most effective means for humanizing and personalizing a society. So kindly answer the 3-2-1 chart. Now we've reached the end of that part. Okay, we need to answer and submit that. It looks like this on your book there. 3 things that I have discovered about the roles and duties of the members of the family. Excuse me. 2 things that I can do to consistently fulfill my role and duties to the family. 1 goal that I hope to achieve this year that is aligned with my role and duties to the family. Okay. Next. So now we have a mini performance task. You won't find this one in the book. I want you to do a think, pair, and share. So that's on slide 70. So when it relates to page 17. There it is. Choose a partner. Actually, I may have done this for you. This slide and actually putting in often the time distance. I'll be working it out. Probably what I'll do is what I did with another group is to create your pairs for you, just going down the roll call, the names list, and creating that on Messenger as pairs, pair groups. And then you write your thoughts on the following. Question 1, how important are parents in the formation of moral and responsible citizens? How important are parents in the formation of moral and responsible citizens? And question 2, how can the family help in the development of the society? So I want you to submit, so you can write those down and have those submitted in your pair groups. And tell me, message that with me or just get me to communicate and look at it, and then I'll share it into the GC. I should think. I don't know if that would be really necessary. I'll consider about that. Maybe the strongest answers or something. So with your partner, don't need to do the choose thing. Use your own ideas, but the kind of ideas I would like to see highlighted are the concepts of an intimate community, that's a very, very close living community of life and love, respect and obedience. Right? Also, families, as the basic unit of society, have an obligation to fulfill their duties as citizens of the country. All right, students, I'd like to ask you to create a doodle out of the word family, which will best represent a community of persons working together for the development of the country. So here's the example one that was given. I don't actually see the country part of it, so much as just showing that there are lots of different roles and individuals fit together. It looks a bit chaotic, doesn't it? But yeah. Okay. But you get the rough idea. Picture a doodle out of the word family. So you have the word family in the middle, and then represent a community of persons working together for the development of the country. So this is just one idea. You could do your own. There are a lot of different ways you could do it. I don't think this is a particularly great example, but it's roughly that idea. Okay, please, I would like to see some volunteers also to share their works. So if you're putting them in with your pairs, just alert me, and if it's really good, I'll share it over into the GC. Hello. All right, so now, valuing a virtue, the parental love. Okay, the next block of reading. Students, I would like you to read page 17, but first I would like to introduce the featured virtue, parental love, by asking, why is it important for parents not to spoil their children? We're missing the word it there. Why is it important for parents not to spoil their children? Can answer and submit. A few guides on that one. There are a variety of ways to answer this question, but I'd like your personal thoughts. But I would like to emphasize that parents only wish the best for their children, and that is why their obligation is to correct, remind, inform, and provide feedback to their children. And I'm going to be like to submit some volunteers to share their personal experiences of parental love as well. So you can add that as well, where you put your answers in. All right, bottom of page 17, valuing a virtue, parental love. All parents desire the best for their children. They work hard, sacrifice, and spend time to provide for and take care of their children. Hence, it is understandable why parents embrace the responsibility of evaluating the decisions and actions of their children, and if needed, reminding, correcting, and guiding them on the right path. Was there, so make sure I've got the right parts. Yes, was there an instance that you thought, oops, got the microphone back in. Was there an instance that you thought your decision was right, but it was opposed by your parents? For most adolescents, this is a common occurrence. At times, opposing views become the source of conflict between parents and their children. Allow yourself to consider the perspective of your parents. bring to mind their age and wisdom and respect their decision as parents. They have the Herculean task of guiding you towards a brighter future. Right, page 18. Let's go. Let's look at the trivia on page 18. I'd like to emphasize that the primary obligation of parents and teachers is to bring out the best in every young person. Here's the trivia. The word educate comes from the Latin word educere, I think it is, educere, which means to bring out. Hence, when our parents and teachers educate us, they are bringing us out of ignorance. It can also be that our educators are trying to bring out the best in us. Uplifting realizations. Students, we are going to please read page 18 and then answer the points to ponder on page 18. After, I would like some volunteers to share their answers. The family is the first school of social virtues which every society needs. It is from the family that a person learns to be obedient, cooperative, and charitable. Okay. From his dealings with his family members, a person is able to practice kindness, forgiveness, and self-sacrifice. He discovers, learns, and practices these positive values, not only with the members of the family, but also to the members of the community. Here are some important reminders for young people. 1. When you and your parents have diverging opinions, it may be good to consider that no parent will wish harm to come to his or her child. Hence, the child who is still far behind, still far behind in experience and wisdom, should humbly submit to the authority of his elders. Number 2, this should be, it has a 2 at the top. Older siblings are called to be charitable and patient in dealing with the shortcomings of their younger brothers and sisters. They must also show them that they practice what they preach. In so doing, they become role models for them, and in turn, the younger siblings too shall become loving and forgiving to those who are younger than them or to their friends. And next, points to ponder. So this is an answer and submit. If you are an older brother or sister, how would you lead your younger siblings to practice positive values and right conduct? Okay, answer and submit. How do you, this should be question 2 actually, it shouldn't be, can I just correct that one, otherwise it could be confusing. I'm just going to quickly do that. That should do it. 2, how do you resolve conflicts in the family? And has your family supported or participated in community service? Share your experience. Okay. Alrighty then. Let's Move on. So the next thing in the engagement section is the summative test. So write true if the statement refers to the correct concepts about the role and duties in a family, and false if otherwise. 1. Parental authority refers to the power of parents to discipline their children. 2. Parents should not assign children chores at home since they are already tired from school. Is that true or false? 3. The saying children must be seen but not heard is correct. True or false? 4. Every member of the family has an obligation to fulfill. True or false? 5. Grandparents are always a burden to the family because they are weak and old. True or false? 6. We must always honor our mother and father. True or false? 7. One way of honoring our parents and valuing their sacrifices is by studying well. True or false? 8. Parents are always their children's role models. True or false? 9. Sibling rivalry is never a good thing. True or false? And 10. Helping with the household chores is one way to show love and care to our parents and family members. True or false? Answer and submit. Okay, so we're on to page 20. Nuggets of wisdom. Nuggets. Nuggets are tiny pieces of gold. That's what a nugget is. Okay. I'd like to call for volunteers to summarize the lesson. All right. And then please see page 20, and I'd like to ask you students to do the activity. And then afterwards we'll post the words of wisdom in the GC PM them me first. Actually, let me check whether this is still the way of doing it. Obviously, we're in a time of change. But remember that I'd like you to summarize the lesson. You can just do this in the space underneath here by screenshotting this one and summarize the lesson so far. So this is a mini performance task. We have the nuggets of wisdom piece. Pick 3 of your favorite words of wisdom that were shared to you by your grandparents or parents and write them on a colorful graphic. So it's not 3 words, it's 3 kind of chunks of words or 3 phrases. 3 of your favorite phrases of wisdom, I think is better, that were shared to you by your parents or grandparents. Write them on a colorful graphic. So the one in the book is save some grain for days of rain. Nice, so saying. So use an interesting font and decorate it, maybe using coloring apps. Screenshot it and send it to Brother Ben. These will then be posted on the GC via PM to me. Yeah, this is okay, because it's not a partner activity, you're just doing it by yourself. So yeah, just do it on a PM as it says. To serve as a reminder on how the young should act and live upright and value-laden lives. So here's a kind of example, rough one. So it might be, learn to sustain yourselves, lay up grain and flour, and save it against a day of scarcity. A nugget of wisdom from my Lola. Kind of example, something like that. You can make it as you want to for the graph pointer sake of graphics, you know, in which way you want to do it. Okay, so that's your mini performance task. Answer and submit. Let's move on. Section C, True Love. Now I'd like to ask you students to read page 20 and do the activity. And then I would like some volunteers to share their answers. And it looks like this. We are all called to practice loving kindness, not just to our family members, but also to the poor, or people in need, actually. Can you cite 3 instances wherein your family can serve others and uphold the value and dignity of human life? So answer and submit. Can you cite, this is just repeating that question, can you cite 3 instances wherein your family can serve others and uphold the value and dignity of human life? So there you can screenshot this one and submit your answers on that. Okay, now students, please do the case study on page 20 to 21, after which I would like to ask some volunteers to share their answers. So situation 1. Your friend confides to you that she is miserable at home. She feels that her parents do not treat her like a young adult and that all her decisions are met with opposition. She admits that there were times when she wanted to run away and live with her friends instead. She also expressed her concern about her studies and how it was affected by her miserable situation. How can you help your friend patch things up with her parents? Okay. So possible solution 1, possible solution 2, and then the best solution. Answer and submit. And then an additional question to that. How will you handle a situation wherein your parents strongly disagree with your particular course of action? And why? So now I would like to ask some volunteers to share their answers. Okay, so submit those in. Situation 2 then. Your father shares to you that he loves you and desires only the best for you. He admits that there are times that he cannot understand the ways of youth, especially with the use of social media. Because of this, he feels that he needs to be overprotective of you. However, he concedes that you need to enjoy your privileges as a young adult. How can you ease your father's worries and encourage him to continue to be a great parent? Okay. How can you ease your father's worries and encourage him to continue to be a great parent? So it's a balance between overprotection and privileges in youth as an adolescent. There's your possible solution 1, 2, and the best solution. Answer and submit. Oops, there's an H that shouldn't be there. What will be your advice to a young person on the proper use of social media? what will be your advice to a young person on the proper use of social media? Now I would like to ask some volunteers to share their answers. Go ahead. So case 1, here's some guidelines about it and pointers. This is the friend who wants to run away. Well, I'd like to emphasize that communication is important in the family. There are many creative ways to express one's feelings or emotions aside from just talking. One can write a letter, email, or even text. However, family members should still have a sit-down conversation and engage in a heart-to-heart talk. So, we're still in the answering phase. Case 2, the father who doesn't understand the ways of youth. I'd like to emphasize that we need to show that we are responsible, demonstrate that we are responsible, and can be trusted by our parents. It's actually not only showing it, we actually do have to be responsible and trustworthy. If we're not responsible, we know that we're not, and we know that we can't be trusted, then it's difficult to show that, and then we have to change our ways and then demonstrate that. So we have to prove that we act to ourselves and to our parents. I think that's the way there. So now we're moving on to section E. That's the scaffolding for the performance task. So students, I would like to ask you to create a concept map about the various roles and the duties of family members and how each member is an integral part of the family. Create a concept map about the various roles, plural, and duties of family members. So there's many, it's not just one. And how each member is an integral part of the family. You've got to show how they're all connected to each other. Got that? That's your performance task. Here's a hello, move on. So here's a concept map. This is not on the topic of families and integral and so on. It's just a demonstration of a concept map so that we're really clear what we're talking about. Some of you may have done this before, but some of you, like incoming students from other schools, may not have done, for example. There it is. So you've got your basic topic at the top, and then you've got your primary 3 links, and then you've got the related links to them, and then you've got some cross-linking or splitting and unifying as well. Got that? And this one as well. This one is a concept map about, languages, parts of speech. So it just shows you that you have your main topic at the top, and then you have your main subtopics, and then you have the label, and then you have branches with connectors, and you have nodes at the end. So it starts off as just one thing at the top and ends up with, I don't know, about 20 or 15 to 20 nodes at the bottom, like a tree, like an upside down tree. Okay? All right, so here's the rubric for your concept map. For 3 points, concept map has a high quality. It's very appealing, skillfully done. And in terms of unity, its concepts are highly cohesive, means they stick together well and highlighting one another. And the purpose, the output achieves the task objectives successfully and convincingly for a measly 1 point. Yeesh. The concept map has low quality. It was rushed, it is less appealing, it's not skillfully done, it didn't have any time put into it. In terms of unity, the concepts don't really link up. It's just not really linking up together and supporting each other or cohesing or highlighting each other. And in terms of purpose, it's not really doing what we're asking here. It's not really showing the various roles and duties of family members. It's just not. It's something else. And the output does not achieve the task objectives. Righty-ho, so there we are. We've reached the end of lesson 2. Bravo, well done. Summary of lesson 2. The first task of the family is to be faithful to one another and to love each other. When parents teach their young social virtues and the proper use of freedom, they are in fact practicing parental love. Next, the authentic and mature communion between persons within the family. Just a minute. Leads to broader community relationships marked by respect, justice, dialogue, and love. Got that? And again, the last one, the family is the first school of social virtues, which every society needs. It is from our family that we learn to be obedient, cooperative, and charitable. And the quote to sum us it all up at the end there. To us, family means putting your arms around each other and being there. Barbara Bush. Okie dokie. So there we are. We have it. There we have it. Let's do it. Okay. Let's get ourselves nice and breathing. If we've been all focused up, relax a moment and breathe out. Breathing in. The closing prayer. Reverently do we pray to Thee, the Holy and Perfect One. We earnestly resolve to understand Thy teaching and to daily tread Thy path. So shall, like Thee, we may attain the peace of Nirvana. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. Go ahead then, have a great day, and I'm looking forward to communicating together in the class on lesson 2.